The northeast of Germany has many traces of the last ice age. Glaciers ground hollows into the earth that later filled with water, a paradise for white-tailed eagles. Around Easter, after a good 5 weeks brooding, the eagle's offspring arrive. From now on, the parents will be doing a lot more hunting. Eaglets can't eat by themselves and have to be fed several times a day. The parents take it in turn. The next delivery is already waiting. White-tailed eagles usually stay together all their lives and can live for more than 30 years. Warmer temperatures bring out snowdrops, crocuses, and wood anemones. A few cranes have stayed on in northern Germany and will breed here. While one looks for food, the other guards the nest. These shy birds brood in wet alder woods. The nest on the ground is only safe from enemies, like for example foxes, if the water level is high enough. Once the eggs are laid, the partners will take it in turn to brood for about a month. Germany's rivers and lakes cover a surface area of around 8,500 square kilometers. That's just 2.5% of the whole country. A relatively small habitat for a large number of species. One particularly colorful bird builds its nest on embankments. The kingfisher. The male is catching fish for its young. Six hungry chicks are waiting. The siblings know that each will be fed in turn. A titbit this big is obviously no easy matter. The parent seems to want to make sure that its offspring can deal with it. After each visit to the nesting hole, the bird cleans its plumage. Grey seals. Their return to the coast made them the biggest predator in Germany. At up to 300 kilos, the bulls weigh more than brown bears. They can easily be distinguished from other seals by their cone-shaped noses. Young bulls test their strength. Up to now, it's all play fighting. Life's real battles still lie ahead. There are now more than 400 grey seals in the state of Schleswig-Holstein. The North Sea is their hunting ground. The seal's attention is attracted by a cat shark. Every fish is potential prey. The shark decides to make a run for it. It tries to use its camouflage by staying close to the seabed. The seal is right behind it. When immobile, however, the shark is almost invisible. That was close. But the seaweed is the territory of a shore crab, and visitors are most definitely not welcome. How long can the shark withstand the crab's pinching? Its cover blown, the shark is soon rediscovered by the seal. But then the seal hesitates. Something is putting it off. Maybe the shark's rough skin? Cat sharks have scales like sandpaper. And that is its salvation. The grey seal decides to find somewhere to rest. This spot's already occupied, and the sitting tenant makes his feelings unmistakably clear. Showing your teeth is the strongest form of threat. Sensibly, the intruder decides to withdraw. The young are born with pure white coats. This female is already experiencing labor contractions. Not long to go now. The newly born pup has hiccups. And a good thing too. This will help it clear its airways and stop amniotic fluid getting into its lungs. Mother and baby greet each other affectionately. They recognize each other by smell and voice. There's hardly any time to recover. An obtrusive bull approaches. It's the mating season and the males are courting the females. The bull could present a danger to the pup. The mother shows no mercy. The danger is over. The male has got the message, for the moment. Back to the North Sea. On Helgoland, an unusual summer spectacle awaits. Lange Anna, the towering monolith, and the neighbouring cliffs are the breeding ground for around 2,000 pairs of guillemots. Every centimetre of the sheer cliff face is occupied, with partner and nest being defended by all means necessary. Quarrels with the neighbours can last for ages, unless, of course, one or other of the parties happens to lose their balance. The guillemots lay their eggs straight onto the rock face. Thanks to their shape, the eggs roll in a circle and only rarely fall off. Besides guillemots and kittiwakes, a few razorbills also nest in the wall. The birds get their food from the sea. Guillemots certainly don't give the impression of being particularly secure in the air. Their wings are better designed for flying underwater, where they hunt for sand eels. Guillemot chicks are constantly hungry, but their parents can only transport one fish at a time back to the cliff face. To stop hungry neighbours stealing the catch, the parent birds feed their young furtively under their wings. After about 3 weeks, the parents end their strenuous feeding efforts and the first chicks start to get nervous. They're not yet able to fly, so if they want fish, they'll have to jump. Those jumping in daylight become themselves easy prey. Outside the safety of the colony, the young guillemot has to fend for itself. If the older birds don't follow the chick down, its fate is as good as sealed. It may seem cruel, but the seagulls also have young to feed. When twilight falls, the chick's chances of survival rise considerably. Each decides for itself when it is ready to jump. This time the parents follow the chicks down and accompany them out to sea. The Harz is home not only to Germany's smallest birds, like wrens, but also the country's biggest cat. A mother lynx and its 2 cubs. The last lynx in the Harz was shot by hunters just under 200 years ago. It wasn't until the turn of the millennium that environmentalists reintroduced the animal to the region. As with most cats, lynxes are single mothers, which keeps them busy all day long. When picked up by the scruff of the neck, the cubs keep still so as not to hurt themselves. Thereafter, it's business as usual. The cubs are just 8 weeks old. They'll spend a good year with their mother. There are a lot of dangers to overcome before they're grown up. Only 1 in 5 cubs survive. Dormice are most active on summer nights. The animals are only awake 6 months of the year, barely enough time to put on the fat they need for the other 6 months of hibernation. Young dormice are very nervous. The nest in the cliff niche is their refuge, but hunger keeps tempting them out. Unstintingly, they search cracks and crevices for something to eat. Ripe raspberries are a delicacy which the mother mouse would rather keep for herself. Berries alone, however, are insufficient to build up the necessary reserves. Proteins are vital. Slugs protect themselves against attack with lots of slime, which is why most animals leave the mollusks well alone. Dormice, however, roll slugs expertly back and forth in their paws to remove most of the slime. What's left is a healthy portion of protein. The meal can then be enjoyed in the shelter of the cliff. In the world-famous Black Forest, spring has teased the shoots from the beech trees. This is the largest area of forest in the country. One particularly rare species only returned here a few years ago, the wildcat. It had been more than 90 years since the last sighting of a wildcat in the Black Forest. Now, in the north of the region, they've bred and are bringing up offspring once more. Young wildcats are hard to distinguish from domestic cats. When they grow older, their tails take on the typical bushy form and black rings. As with all cats, climbing up is no problem with curved claws, but getting down is more of a challenge. These kittens can enjoy their mother's care for a few more weeks. Not long now, and they'll have to look for their own territory. In the sandstone cliffs of the region known as Saxon Switzerland, The trees use every plateau and crevice to spread out. The rocks are remote and inaccessible, ideal conditions for black storks. These two have been returning to this spot for years to breed and bring up their young. By now, their nest resembles a fortress. One or other parent stands guard over the nest for more than a month before the young are left alone for the first time. Plenty of opportunity to spoil the kids. In contrast to their white cousins, black storks only rarely clatter. Just at the shift changeover, rain sets in. The water could be dangerous for the young storks, which have not yet grown their water-repellent plumage and could catch cold. It's very practical having parents prepared to act as your own personal umbrella. Summer in the hills of Saxon Switzerland. The difference in temperature between ravines and plateaus has now risen to 10 degrees Celsius. Up top, it's boiling hot, while deep down, it's cool. The black storks knew what they were doing when they chose to nest in the shade of a stone pine. The fledglings are now 2 months old and almost ready to leave the nest. They're already trying their wings out. In 4 weeks' time, they have to be prepared to take on the long flight south with their parents. They need to weigh 3 kilos by then, as the journey requires a great deal of energy. By now, the storks have had enough to eat, and it's time for some preening. The birds are most particular about tidiness and personal appearance. The siblings demonstrate a phenomenon that has hitherto scarcely been studied: social or allo-preening. Birds only allow good friends or partners to pluck feathers. This serves a hygienic purpose, but also cements bonds between the animals in a similar way to apes grooming each other. The feather is proving obstinate, but the stork cannot help itself. Instinct forces it to continue. This may take a while. There's a lot of snow this year. Food will be scarce everywhere. In buzzard circles, prey is automatically a source of envy. The birds spread their wings in an effort to cow their rivals. These two, however, are a match for each other, and when two quarrel, it's often the third that benefits. In this case, it's Wild Boar that settled the fight. The omnivores possess one enormous advantage: their sensitive snouts, which can smell out food under 30 centimeters of snow. It's the mating season, and while the young ones practice, for the adult boars, things are getting serious. For the winner, a romantic rendezvous awaits, and he prepares himself accordingly, putting on his best scent. The object of his affections seems anything but disinclined.